Hello, hello. We are here with Joe. Like the little rhyme I did that time.
I dig it. Oh, twice in a row. You're a poet
Oh
and you
my
don't know it.
goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to stop. We got to stop. All right. Welcome, everybody. We're here today with Joe Casabona, our podcasting and automation expert. Can't wait to hear what he's going to enlighten us on today. Really excited about it. But first, a few words about GoWP for everyone who's watching who may not be fully familiar with us. At GoWP, we like to say that we create happiness for digital agencies and help them to become more profitable. So, whether you're looking to grow your team with a developer, copywriter, designer, or virtual assistant, or really any other role that you're looking for, we can probably help you out with that. And we'd love to help you with that. So, if you want to have that conversation about how we can help you grow your team, please reach out anytime and we can talk about it. We also have our outsourced services, so things like maintenance and content edits to help get you out of the weeds, stopping to not so much working in your business and get to working on your business, that sort of thing. We are here for that as well. So if you want to talk about how GoWP can help you grow and scale your agency, reach out anytime. Emily@gowp.com. And if you're looking for coaching and mentorship and kind of that angle to take your agency to the next level, you should really check out the Micro Agency Academy. It's a new academy that we have launched along with Chris Lemma and Pete Perry, and it's open enrollment now. You can join us and be well on your way to scaling your agency. This course and coaching program, it has a curriculum developed by Chris Lemma and coaching by Pete Perry, and it empowers you to boost your monthly recurring revenue, master the art of strategic hiring so you know who to hire next and how to hire them. It's going to help you close, excuse me, it's going to help you increase your closing rate so you're closing more of those deals. And all of that together is going to help you amplify your profits and help you to enjoy more free time. So less work, more money sounds good. That's the goal of that academy, to get you there. And you can take 50% off the first month with code GoWP50. So we've got that special going on now, and I will share a link to the academy in just a moment when I'm done talking. But you can check it out at microagencyacademy.com. And apart from that, we've got the Digital Agency Owners Facebook group, which folks are watching this in now. So if you are there, say hi. If you're watching this on YouTube, let us know. You can say hi in the chat where you're watching from. And we're going to jump right into things now. So we are here today with Joe Casabona. We were live last week with Lindsay Halsey, and we will be live next week, the week after next, with Trisha Clements for local SEO, so Google Business Profile, that kind of stuff with Trisha Clements. But today we're here with Joe Casabona for podcasting and automation, and we are going to be going over 3 game-changing tools that Joe is going to teach us about today. So, hey, Joe, great to see you.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, as always. Good to see
Yeah,
you
thanks.
too.
Thank you. Thanks for being here for us. So I will pass it over to you. And if you need to screen share or anything like that, I'm here to help. So I'll be keeping an eye on the comments and I'll help get questions to Joe if he doesn't see them. So make sure you put your questions in the chat. They can be questions related to what he's talking about. They can be unrelated. They can be questions about podcasting, about automation, about things you've heard him say in the past. So throw it in there and we will get started. So Joe, take it away.
All right, thanks. And I'm just gonna mention fun fact: Pete Perry lives close to where I grew up. So when we chatted, we had that little connection. So anyway, thanks so much to everybody who is here now or watching in the future. I am going to show you 3 tools, 2 of which have been a game changer for me, one of which I just enabled now. So we'll see how it goes. And this is mostly because one of my email subscribers asked me what I thought about it. And I thought, hey, let's kill 2 birds with one stone, demo a new tool, and form an opinion. So I'm going to share my screen. I think just this window would be neato. So then I think we're good. Yes. Okay, so cool. The first tool I'm going to show you, excuse me, is Voxalyze. So this tool is, I like to call it like the Google Analytics of podcasts or for podcasts, because it gives you a lot of really interesting insight into your show. And so these are my actual stats. I'll show both of my uh, dashboards so you can kind of see what's going on. But It's really good. I probably if I was a smarter man, I would have, brought up the pricing and the plans, uh, so to give you a good idea of, what you're looking at as far as pricing and plans go, but, um, I think it's something like I think it works out to, like, $8 a show. Yeah, 8 bucks per show per month, which is really good. I'm on a legacy plan that I'll switch to when I go back to, um, like, when it comes time for me to review or renew rather. But I mean, 10 bucks a show if you pay per month, 8 bucks a show if you pay per year, and there is a free plan. So I love this not only because I use it for my shows, but I have them. Well, I don't have any in here right now for like privacy purposes, but I do also use them for my coaching clients. So if someone hires me to get like an audit or is just coaching with me, I'll use Voxalyze to kind of keep track of how they're doing and how we can associate um, things that I've told them to do with growth in the show, which I think is really neat. So let's go into how I built it. So you can see the first thing it'll do. This does this. The way it works is you connect um, without connecting anything, you'll get some information, based on what they can find publicly, but you can also connect your Apple Podcasts dashboard and your Spotify dashboard to it to get even more insights, and they also have analytics, so you can add, a prefix to your feed so that you can get analytics, which we'll look at in a minute. So, all of this is for Apple Podcasts. 70% of my, listeners come from Apple Podcasts, so you'll see I'm like, well, I haven't maybe I blew up on Spotify in the last 2 weeks, but yeah, so, um, I'm much lower ranked on Spotify than I am on Apple Podcasts, so we're gonna stick with Apple Podcasts. So you can see I'm in the top 3%. This is actually down. You can see I was in the top 1% a few weeks ago. I traveled a bit, and so I wasn't promoting the show as much as I could. And probably around here, I can probably see what episode came out that made this so popular. And this is one of the reasons I love Voxalyze is because I can kind of associate a visibility score with an episode. So if I go to August 28th to September 3rd, so we'll want to look around there in the analytics. If I go back to say the 15th to the 3rd, I can see what episodes came out and what my downloads looked like then. And I can associate. So you can see this little player icon is when new episodes came out. So on the 21st, DG Shen's episode came out. Fun fact, DG is the person who told me about Voxelize. So maybe I was kind of popular in that range because of that. But on the 28th, um, my episode with Kathleen Selmans came out, and you can see my visibility and my downloads kind of peaked around that time. So um, this is really helpful data that I don't think a lot of podcasters leverage because it hasn't been a really good there haven't been really good tools for analytics, right? It's kind of been like a crapshoot, right? Where you're like looking at Apple Podcasts and you're looking at Spotify and you're using your host to check stats. But I really of the ones I've tried, and I've tried like Chartable and Podtrack, Voxalyze has provided really good insights for me, right? So like Tom Schwab's episode came out yesterday, so we're doing okay there. Um And then you can also see, like, the heat map, so, like, most of my down a lot of my downloads come around 2 AM on Monday. Makes sense because that's when the episode is released, so we can, like, reasonably assume I have probably well, I don't know, I don't wanna read the data wrong, but I could probably figure out how many subscribers I have based on that data point. But you can see, like, Monday is the most popular day, that makes sense. Thursdays get a little bump probably because I promote the show around Wednesday, Thursday. I do another extra promotion, so I can kind of see how the show's doing on a heat map. But that's the analytics. So you get good analytics from Voxelize. The thing I like most about Voxalyze, though, and this is why I use it for my audit and coaching clients, is they have keyword insights. So I can see, don't know what that one is. I can see what people are searching for, how easy it is to rank for those terms, so that I can then optimize my content for that. So if I change search volume to very high and still possible, WordPress.com. The digital how to, very high possible. Screenshot, very high and easy. So I might consider, I don't know, maybe I want to do screenshot tools for solopreneurs or cool screenshot tools for creators, right? Maybe that's something that should drive my content. FreshBooks, common keyword, easy. So maybe I would probably talk about like why I left FreshBooks, right? Because I did leave FreshBooks. Um, Baby clothes, and I know that one. I have an episode about what baby clothes tell you about knowing your customer. Um, the TLDR is that anybody I found baby pajamas that were like reverse zipper, so you would zip from the top to the bottom, and I'm like, these were definitely designed by a sleep deprived parent who had to change a crying baby in the middle of the night. Um, and what can you do with that information? So that's why I like the show keyword insights because it helps me position my show better. Coaching, for example, is high when I added the word coaching to my title. Case studies and coaching for creators and solopreneurs. I did see an increase in my visibility after that. Um, And then they have episode level visibility if you want to upgrade. So podcast studio plans, again, I gotta look at the price. So that's if you want $25 per month or maybe $30 per show per month. So, um, if you wanna get really deep, again, this is like probably something that would be worth the investment for me, as I get more coaching clients and help them with discoverability. And again, this is for both Apple Podcast and Spotify. The analytics are across all platforms, but the deeper insights, um, they'll have those with the platform specific data. So again, on Spotify, solo, very high and easy, right? Solo learn is a common one on Casserole. Uh, um, so again, using this information can help kind of guide my content plan and how I position the show for growth. So again, this is on Spotify. If I wanna grow on Spotify, that's worth me exploring because top 11%, um, ranked pretty low versus where I'm ranked in Apple Podcasts. And again, this is down. I was in the top 1% for a while, so it just goes to show you that this is it's always a moving target, and you want to make sure that you're kind of listening to the clues that you get from your listeners and data like this. So it also gives you information on ratings, which is cool. Average listener rating, number of ratings coming in, and stuff like that. So um, that's a quick overview. They just rolled out something new that they emailed me about today. Shout out to I'm gonna probably say your name wrong, and I'm really sorry. Solal, if you're here, um, for letting me know about Smart Link. So I haven't really dived into this, but this is a link where you can kind of create um, attribution for uh, for discovery. So like it looks like you create the link, you add some UTM parameters, and then it creates a nice, easy landing page for people to subscribe to your podcast. Great tool if you don't already have that. So I'll probably play around with this a little bit more um, in the coming days. And I should mention that I'm doing a quick overview of all of these three tools. I will do a deeper dive on each of these tools for my membership, which is the Podcast Foundry. Um, So you can go over to podcastworkflows.com/join. And for 25 bucks a month or 250 bucks a year, you can become a member. You'll get access to live stream archives, my automation database, and then a premium version of my podcast and a newsletter focused on automations, mostly around podcasting. But I mean, some of them are going to be just applicable to solopreneurs and creators. So I'll have a video for each of these in the Foundry over the coming weeks. But I do want to give an overview of each of these today. So that's Voxalyze. I really like it. I honestly, I recommend if you have a podcast, Voxalyze is worth the $8 a month to keep tabs on it. And just to kind of show you how my other show compares, this is a daily podcast that relaunched last week, and you could see visibility score was low and then has just kind of shot up since publishing regularly. So, um, big it was let's see, score, rank. Let's look at the rank. Yeah, so I was down in like the 164,000s and then now it's up in the 44,000s. So, um, this is a daily show. I don't think it has. Oh, it has 3 5-star ratings. How about that? Um, didn't know that. Uh, and then the analytics are gonna look a little bit different, but, something see, so, like, wasn't publishing here, and then I started with daily episodes. You can see I got the most downloads here, and that's after the long form episode was published. I wanna give a shout out to Ariel Nissenblatt, who, promoted the show on LinkedIn yesterday, without any prompting because she's the best. So, this is gonna be a really fun experiment for me, experimenting with a daily versus weekly show. But this is, again, something that I'm kind of enabled to do thanks to Voxalyze. Okay, so that's the first tool. Next up, I'm going to save BuzzSprout for last, is Castmagic. Castmagic, I might have mentioned before, um, but Castmagic is an AI summary tool. It was on AppSumo. I got it as an AppSumo deal, so I paid something different, but it starts at 23, let's do monthly, 39, wow. 39 bucks a month, or 23 bucks a month if you pay for, the whole year. And I was kinda suspect of Castmagic, but they've made a lot of really good changes in the last month maybe or 2, that I felt were, like, game changers. So here's something I do. I interviewed Tim Stoddart of Copy Blogger, so I uploaded that here. It allows you to label the speakers, and then it generates AI content based on what it has figured out, um, the show is about. It'll give you timestamps, topics and bullet points, interesting clips, which I think is really cool. And then a script for creating an Instagram reel, a LinkedIn post, a newsletter post, and a Twitter thread, or an X thread, I guess. And then questions that the show answers, which I think is cool, and then a thread for Instagram. So I like this because it makes so a similar tool is CapShow, which again is from that's DG Shen's tool. And I think CapShow traditionally has done a better job of figuring out what the show is about, but creating the assets has always, in my opinion, been a little bit harder in CapShow than it has in Castmagic. So I like that Castmagic has these very specific sections. You can also create a new prompt. So I could say something like blog post, and then I could say, using this transcript. I'm not a prompt engineer, so I'm just going to come up with something straightforward. Uh, Come up with a 500 to 750 word blog post covering the main topics make the tone first person for Joe friendly and approachable. I don't know if this works. I don't know if it's gonna know first person or whatever, but it always is like the host, Joe Casabona, and I'm like, I'm the host, Joe Casabona. So I try to include first person in there and see if it works. But so it's gonna generate a new blog post for me. The other thing while it's doing that is it has magic chat, so I can ask something um, like the prompt I just wrote, summarize this transcript. What books does Tim mention? Right. So Tim mentioned um, 5 books that shape his thinking. They say the specific book isn't mentioned. That's mostly just because he doesn't say like here are the 5 books 1, 2, 3. So it was probably harder for the AI to figure that out. But um, you can also have like this little chat bot that's combing the transcript for you. So blog post title: Building a brand, creating content, and embracing humility. Insights. Well, that's already a really good title. Hey there, fellow creators. It's Joe Casabona. I want to share some incredible insights. Tim emphasized. So I'm not going to read through this whole thing, but um, I think that this is probably a really good starting point. Um, and there are some really good points actually in here. So uh, I have a blog post. I'd probably read this, maybe modify it, and then copy it and kind of rewrite it. But this is for podcasts. However, Castmagic is not just for podcasts. You could see a couple of other things here. One is YouTube videos. So you can upload a YouTube video and it'll kind of do the same thing. But the difference is the context of the what content is generated. So like it comes up with YouTube keywords, the timestamped overview, which you can use these timestamps as chapter markers in the description for YouTube. It still has the clip finder, the email newsletter, and I did ask it to create a blog post, which I have as a saved prompt, and I did use this to write the blog post on my blog for this content. So I'm just going to call this GoWP, whatever. You can add some magic words here, so like expert, series, automation. No, thank you. I forgot that you no longer have to say "hey" to prompt my HomePod. Um, so this is why I created this. This is what I wanted to show you. It has 6 different types of content profiles: podcast, YouTube, meetings. And so if you do meetings, you have like a meeting title, themes, agenda points, action items, which is cool. With coaching, which I do have something here. I have one coaching client in there. I didn't ask them if I could show it ahead of time, so I'm not going to do that. But like key session worksheet, I thought this was super cool. Um, so you have a specific prompt for coaching, customer discovery. So if you're doing discovery calls, summary and sentiment, problems to solve, needs, solution, etc. And then sales call. So again, something similar. If you're doing a sales call, what are the pain points? This is where I think Castmagic can really differentiate itself from the other tools because the other tools are heavily podcast focused. But Castmagic has done this really interesting thing where it understands that people might want to use it for other things besides podcasts. And so the coaching call one specifically, I was pretty blown away by. I I had to make some changes and add in my own notes. But the session worksheet, I was like, so I went through the key things that I wanted my coaching client to do, and a session worksheet was generated. So one thing I was like, come up with 4 stories for you to tell on podcasts. So it was like, here's your section to write 4 stories, right? And I thought that was really interesting. Maybe let's see. I'll stop sharing my screen and maybe I can anonymize that section because it is like probably helpful to see it. So if anybody has any questions right now while I do that, I'm happy to answer them. But, let's see. I wanna just scroll down to cool, yeah, so there's no, like, identifying information here in the session worksheet. Okay, cool. Um, so let's run it back. Alright, so here's the session worksheet, for a coaching call I did, um, enhancing your podcast guest appearances. So storytelling, what are 3 to 4 concrete stories and examples? How can you apply the problem agitate solution framework? That's the exact terminology I used. How can you integrate relatable analogies or metaphors into your storytelling? Um, thesis, right? Often this is just really good advice if you're going to go on podcasts as a guest, but like usually you jump all over the place. So I told this particular person, like, have a thesis statement. Like, what's the one thing you're going to talk about? And then, of course, have a clear call to action. So I really liked this section in particular. But then there's also like the key points and key takeaways. So that's Cast Magic. Again, I've been really impressed with what I've gotten. Um, from these, specifically, or from Castmagic's prompts specifically. I like that you can add a new prompt. They also just added community prompts. I haven't even looked at this yet, but I assume, like, you can probably get prompts that other people are using that work. So curiosity, value, fast, hungry for more. Create a social media post to oh, hey, I know him. That's wild. Um Goal is to spark curiosity. So if I save this, um, and then go back to the recordings, I wonder if I can get that prompt right now for this one. Oh yeah, it's already generating. So that's cool. So you can kind of crowdsource your prompts, which is neat. Let's go. Let's see what that came up with. I don't even know what episode. Oh, this is my coaching call with Amy. Okay. Dive into the world of captivating interviews with okay, so that's, like, not great. Um, Transform your boring interviews into compelling stories, that's true. Oh, yeah, okay, actually, this is very good. I forgot what our call was about. Um, Power of storytelling, yes, that's really neat. Very cool. I like that a lot. Okay, so that is Cast Magic. Um, if you have any questions or you want me to try anything, let me know. I don't know what pages are. I haven't tried this yet. But the thing I've been using it for, especially lately, is summarizing my audits, summarizing my coaching calls, and the next thing I'm probably going to start doing is recording my meetings and seeing how well it summarizes those meetings as well, and maybe export those notes to Notion or something like that. Because I do a pretty good job of taking notes during meetings, but I definitely could do a better job, and I usually kind of get stuck on one thought. So especially because I've been doing a lot more discovery calls for my podcasting services, having a tool that will summarize that would be very helpful. And again, I got this on AppSumo. I'm pretty sure the AppSumo deal is done. Well, let's find out. One of the few tools I got from AppSumo that I actually use. Deal's unavailable. I don't know that it's gonna come back, kind of based on some things I've heard. Like, I think this was like a kind of juice the user base sort of thing. Um, but you can always sign up and see if it comes back. I think it's really good. I'm using it more, and I do pay for like Capsho and Swell AI right now. I want to consolidate those to one. It probably would be Cast Magic, but I think it is worth spending like 20 bucks, maybe 30 bucks on a tool that helps you with this. That could be just ChatGPT, but I like the really focused nature of the prompts they're coming up with. Okay, so that is Cast Magic. Let's go to BuzzSprout. BuzzSprout just rolled out something called cohost AI. So frustratingly, I will show the pricing because this frustrated me a bit. for a couple of reasons. So let's see if I can get back to the pricing page. Uh, BuzzSprout also does that thing where when you're logged in, you can't like see the homepage. Um, which is also very annoying. Like, what if I want to go to the homepage for some reason? So see pricing. Okay, so here we go. So they have a free plan, which is okay. It's like it's generous enough. But you can't get co-host AI on that, not even if you pay. It's like a paid add-on on the other plans. So I don't know why you can't just pay to add it. I don't know. Whatever. Maybe it's subsidized here. But it's $10 a month on the $12 a month plan. It's $20 a month on the $18 a month plan, and it's $30 a month on the $24 a month plan. I assume those prices account for like have some assumed use, but that just struck me as really strange. Like Notion AI is an additional $10 on the plan. So I don't know. I think the pricing is really weird, but that's about as far as I got into it. So I did upgrade my plan. I don't use BuzzSprout for my host anymore. I use Transistor, and I've been pointing people to RSS.com. RSS.com, full disclosure, I'm an evangelist for RSS.com. That said, if you don't need like private feeds and dynamic ads, you will get the best bang for your buck at RSS.com. That's why I became an evangelist for them because I think they have a really good product that more people should know about. So, BuzzSprout. Let's look at BuzzSprout. Uh, Co-host AI. So they're saying they're going to do, kind of basically the same thing that some of these other tools like Castmagic and Capshow and Swell AI do. But you upload an episode like directly to this interface. So I've already done that to save time. So let's see what co-host AI has come up with. Title, description, transcript. I don't Oh, so this is so for a quick uh prompt. This episode is the episode I released last week. It's a deep dive into the Trailer Park podcast, the one I referenced earlier with Ariel Nissenblatt and Tim Villegas. And so I just uploaded this episode to see how it does. No title, description, or anything, just the audio. So let's see what it came up with. Unlocking the secrets to podcast success. That's very generic. Elevate your podcast game. Behind the scenes at the trailblazing trailer park, growth strategies. This is the closest one, or harnessing the power. Like that's probably the best one, based on what I actually talk about, which is like how Trailer Park got 10,000 downloads in 6 months. Um, ready to? Can I? Okay, so ready to unravel the secret. Brace yourself as we journey through the compelling. I don't talk like that. Uh, by the dynamic duo. There's a lot of personality here. I'll give them that. Learn how their niche podcast. Okay, in a mere 6 weeks. Cool. Valuable insights into their tool. So this is actually pretty good. Like if you're starting with like a blank, plus get a grip on effective podcast planning. That might be in had. I don't really remember talking about this part in that episode. Um, but who knows? So that's the description. And then they're also supposed to come up with like chapters and stuff, right? So let's see. Let's go back. Little checklist, transcript. Okay. Chapter marker, social post, blog post. So let's save and update this, I guess. Oh, tags. Mm, okay, so I'm not seeing the rest of the stuff, but let's just save and update episode, I guess. View edit chapters. Okay, so they did they did come up with chapter markers. Production process, podcast growth, promotion strategies. So what I'm going to do here is double check because this was a written article that I read for the show, which means I have headlines for all of the sections. So, what is Trailer Park about? finding trailers, so that's something that they could have covered. Notes on the trailer, recording and editing volley. Let's see. So it's kind of weird that they only have 3 chapters and they're like 8 minutes apart. I don't know if that's just they just um and it dives like right into the CTA. Like there's a lot of stuff I cover in here. So chapter markers, little less impressed by that. Um, right, it's just those 3, yeah, and then the transcript, that's gonna be fine. Um, probably ask me who the speaker is. Co-host, okay, so here are the titles, description, blog post. Um, so this is interesting, this is a summary. They effectively plan their podcast using tools like Google Sheets, Notion, and Airtable. I don't know that they use all of I'm pretty sure they don't use all of these, but, this is fine. This came from, like, a 2,000 word blog post. And then social posts. So social posts is just looks like pretty much just tweets, right? Unearth the secrets behind the Trailer Park Podcast rapid growth, discover how a niche podcast, tune into the latest episode, take your podcast to new heights. Okay, so this is fine. I guess if you have their paid plan, $10 a month is fine for this, but I think you get a much richer experience from Castmagic or Capsho or Swell AI. So that's my initial impression of that tool. It did a pretty good job of figuring out at least one title. The description's pretty good. The podcast or the blog post rather, just quickly looking over it is fine. Um, but yeah, in general, I think probably I would recommend something like Castmagic, Capsho, or Swell AI. I think you'll get a better bang for your buck there. So, those are a quick overview of the 3 tools. Um, if you'd like, since we have some time left, I don't know if any questions have come in, but I can show, Capsho, which is, again, the one I think does the it's the most expensive, but is I think it does the best job of figuring out what the episode's about. Um, and then if there are no questions, we can call it a day. So let's do that. Um, and again, these are all kind of I Emily, I didn't tell you that these were mostly AI tools, but maybe that would have been good for the positioning of this live stream. Um, but like I think Voxalyze is really the one I was most excited to talk about because I think that that has the most application and is most useful for like every podcaster. I usually find like the AI tools. I'm just going to my YouTube channel to make sure there are no questions. Um, I usually find that um, like the AI tools, I find my writing is better than whatever the AI tools come up with. So I'm less likely to just kind of go with those as far as like whatever they produce. I think they do an okay job of giving me a starting point, but most of the time I'm less likely to want to use those assets. But like Voxelize, I check multiple times per week because I think that is just so valuable for any podcaster to know where that information is coming from. Okay, so I didn't see any questions come through. I don't know if questions from my streams, like my channels, are going to show up in restream. They probably should, but just wanted to double check. Okay, so let's look at Capshow. Share my screen again. All right, so in Capshow, you can also have multiple shows. So here's how I built it. That's the one I use the most. Recent episode I did was flipped classroom, and so you can see like this is where I think I start to kind of lose interest with Capshow. It's because you click on this and you have like this little kind of build it yourself thing, and then you can export it or save as a layout, but it's not as clear cut as some of the other tools. And so like here, like this is a pretty good job with the key moments. Like I think they do a good job here. And again, I think they've done a good job of determining what the episode is about, like better than other ones I've seen. But I think like I just sometimes I get lost in this builder. So like podcast call to action, join my mailing list. Okay, fine. Um, key moments. And then when I get down here, like there are some things that I can't like blog posts and LinkedIn article. I think I'm on like one of their higher plans, but so I don't know why I like, can't write a LinkedIn post or a blog post. They also just rolled out this creative studio so you can create like more visual assets. Um, but again, like without um, I think without a kind of clearer guidance, maybe like more onboarding, I just have a hard time using this tool. Something else, like every time I leave, I get this. And I'm like, I just want to go back. Um, so anyway, I like Capshow for what it figures out how to do. I think here it is. The learning curve is higher. Um, and like again, I'm not really sure. Like, okay, so I can create an email, email subject, cool. All right, I already had the email subject. We'll add this, and I guess I'll delete that. So it's like very like block based. Um, so it's like cool if you want to build your own, but if I didn't want to build my own, if I just kind of wanted something, um, I guess what I'm saying is like the interface for getting assets is better in Castmagic because it's very clear what the assets are versus having to build it all myself here. So it is cool. Like you can edit this on the fly, right? So like if I do want to write something, I can edit it, but um, I guess it's just a little bit confusing for me, and I feel like I was in this a lot sometimes. So that those are my thoughts on Capshow. I would encourage you to try both out and see which one works for you. Maybe it's just like my brain that Capshow doesn't really work with. Um, and again, the kind of secret sauce for Capshow is that it'll start processing and then it'll ask you like halfway through processing what the episode's about. So it does a good job of figuring out what the episode's about. And so I fully recognize that maybe I just haven't given the interface a fair shake. But if I'm using AI tools to make my life easier, um, part of that is being able to like go in and just be like, oh yes, this is the Twitter thread. I'm gonna grab this and reword it really quick. So, and I think that's everything. About 15 minutes or so on each tool, maybe like 11 minutes on each tool. So, um, yeah, if there are any questions, let me know. Um, otherwise, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Joe. That was great. I liked your comments about, because I feel I have the same experience with AI where it's a helpful assistant, right?
Yeah.
Um, but it's funny, even same thing. I think in your example, it was like, catch this dynamic duo. And it's like, I would not say that.
Yeah, I would never say that. Of
uh,
course, I was on a call this morning, like a kind of research call for a tool I use, and I said like, "Oh, if you wanna get to the juicy bits," and I'm like, I never say that. I don't know. And then I also said like, "Oh, next week's my birthday week," and I'm like, "My birthday week? I don't even care about my birthday really, so it's really weird that I just attributed a whole week to my birthday. I
right?
don't
It
know,
would just be your birth
I'm having a
week at that
day.
point, right? Your birth week.
Yeah, my birth week, exactly. Welcome, celebrate me.
Yeah, it is helpful though. And I love that all of these tools integrate AI in it, because something we do um, internally at GoWP is talk about how we're using AI daily, because we're
Mm,
encouraging each other to tap into that and use it and have it help us, right, in our daily tasks. Because when you are a small team, or a team of one, like, you take all the help you can get, right? So it is helpful
Yeah.
in those senses, but you do rarely, if ever, have I just been like, yep, that's it, copy paste, let's go, when I'm
Yeah.
asking for content.
So, like, something I love, um, about, like, how I actually use AI, and, like, maybe this can be, like, next month's thing, but, um, there's an app called Raycast, it's a launcher app, and it has AI integrated, and so, like, there's a ChatGPT 4 chat box just, like, on your desktop, so, um, maybe I can share this, I'll share this really quick, um, because this is, like, how I actually use, let's see, I might have to share my whole desktop because it's, like, it's a weird, like, floating window that, like,
Mm.
doesn't really necessarily exist. Um, so, yeah, so I'll just go someplace better. So, this is the tool, right? And so what I'll usually use this for is, um, like, fact checking things I'm writing about. So, one week I wrote about the Socratic method, and I was like, "Oh, let me just double check." So I was like, "What is the Socratic method?" My, Jesuit education is really showing here. Um, and so I'll usually just use it as, like, a fact checker to confirm things I already thought. Like, you might have seen, uh oh, right, so, like, I was talking about how Thomas Jefferson invented the swivel chair, and I was like, "I'm not making that up, am I? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm not making that up, but I just wanted to, like, confirm." Um, then I wanted to also confirm that, like, Simone Biles is the most decorated American gymnast or whatever. So, like, using it for fact checking has been really helpful for me. Like, this little window is like, I'll have this on one side and my writing app on the other, and it's just like my little buddy.
And what was that called again? Raycast?
That's called Raycast, yeah, but, like, if you just have, like, ChatGPT,
Yeah,
um,
ChatGPT
yeah, it's
integrated
yeah.
into your, okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah, I think that's awesome. And I also, kudos to you for fact checking yourself. So good work. It's
Yeah, well,
important.
I'm always I mean, like, my biggest fear is, what if I'm wrong? Like,
Yeah. Uh-huh. Right.
so, like and, like, I mean, I went to a Jesuit college, like, we studied the Socrates a lot, like, we had to take philosophy, and I'm like, "Oh, man, I'd look like kind of a dummy if I didn't know what the Socratic method was,"
Just
which
make
is
sure you got that
yeah,
right.
exactly, which for those who don't know, it's basically questioning somebody until like, basically questioning them into a corner a little bit, like, letting them argue against themselves. It's really a nice way to argue because 'cause you're not really an aggressor, you're just kind of asking questions,
Digging
and then
in. Yeah.
yeah, then you're
I love
forcing
that.
them to consider their position.
Hmm.
So,
Very cool. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
yeah.
Um, awesome. Well, this was a great session. If you're watching this as a recording, you can still comment. You can still put your questions there. We'll check them. Joe will be back next month also. So if you have questions from a previous one, or this has maybe spurred some thoughts that you want to bring to the next month's session, just stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. You can do that at GoWP.com. And so you'll be in the know when these come up. Um, they are, I believe, the second Tuesday of every month. Is that right? Is this must be the second Tuesday?
That
Yeah,
is
the 10th.
correct.
Yes, so second Tuesday if we're on schedule. We are heading into holiday season, which I can't believe, but as I like to
No.
call it, candy season, which lasts from Halloween through Easter. So
Nice.
it's a long one. Get ready.
It is. You know, I never realized, but it is you've got Halloween
It's
candy, then Thanksgiving and Christmas, and
It all
then
starts with Halloween. I mean, in
yeah.
our house, it actually starts earlier because we have birthdays that start at the beginning
Mm,
of October. So it starts
ah,
with the cakes, and then it rolls into
yes.
candy, and then
Yep.
it just keeps
Desserts.
going. So yeah, get ready. All right, well,
Valentine's
Joe,
Day, yep.
thank thank you so very much for your expertise, your wisdom, all of the great stuff that you shed light on today with Castmagic and Voxalyze, and what was the third one? I can't.
BuzzSprout, cohost
BuzzSprout.
AI.
Okay, awesome. And we'll
Yep.
put links. I'll put links to those in the comments right now once I get off this video here, so I can go do it. So you guys can check that out and join us again next month with Joe when we'll be talking more podcasting automation And if there's anything you'd like Joe to cover, feel free to email myself or comment in the Facebook group or on this YouTube stream, and we'll get it onto the schedule. So Joe, thank you, and thanks to everyone watching.